We're here
to celebrate
Time with Love.
One of these months, we're going to get coordinated on the Time with Love.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Thank you for joining us again. And to newcomers, of course.
Of course.
Yes, we hope there's some newcomers out there, but we're glad that there are old friends out with us too. And speaking of newcomers, who's that guy over there?
Hello. Hello. I didn't know if I was being introduced. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm A.R. Farina, author of the Austen Chronicles.
Welcome.
And I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. And co-editor and creator of Comics Lit with my sister from another Mr. Tonya Todd.
Yes.
Nice. So our parents weren't very creative, Tonya and Tony.
Tonya and Tony. I know.
It was like a singing group.
Yeah. But regardless, we
Yes.
are family. We
Yes.
are Wonder Twins.
That's right. We are the Wonder Twins. And we are here to have our powers activate later today. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Thank you
We're
for
activating the power of love today.
Where are we? What is this? Oh, it's Time with Love.
Yes.
Time with Love is as Tonya says, we have three of us have calendar books, and so we got together to produce this monthly show and present readings from us and from our guest authors, and we'll have a contest with some prizes you can win, real prizes, and have some fun along the way.
While celebrating love.
Definitely celebrating love. Did I mention we're romance authors? Yeah.
Yes, we are. That's important. So just so everyone knows where they can follow up with us and where they can find our work. I know me, author Hadley Raydeen, I am on all avenues. So if you're looking on Amazon or, if you want to catch up with me on Facebook is where I spend most of my time, but any of social media, I'm on there. You can see me or see my zaniness there, and my books are on Amazon.
And I'm mainly on Substack at RIK, which is not how I spell my nickname, but RIK 1313. I do a free flash fiction every day, and my work is inspired by visuals. But I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, so you'll find me whether you want to or not.
And the best way to stay abreast of what I'm doing and how to find out when we are doing each Time with Love is to follow my newsletter, but I'm also on Instagram and Facebook.
Mr. Farina, would you like to tell us where we can find you?
Sure, yes. The best place to just, my website is arfarina.com, and that has links to Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, those places. And you can sign up for my newsletter there too. But yeah, the website has the one-stop shop to pretty much all of the books I've written, songs I've written, whatever you want to see, podcasts I've been on. That's the place to go.
Awesome.
And your newsletter just came out. I saw that you are reading something Jane Austen related. You want to share it for the audience?
Hello. I don't know what happened. We're live. This is the beauty
Oh,
of
you
live
froze
TV.
for a minute.
Oh, you guys froze on my, so apparently it was me. Anyway,
Oh.
So that A.R. Farina, that's where I'm at, arfarina.com.
So we'll start off with me.
Yes.
Because that's what we always do. Why change tradition? I'm going to read a scene today from my July story, funny enough, since this is our July program. And that story in my current collection, Gay All Year, which is my fourth published collection, is called, strangely enough, That July I Learned to Surf. And Gay All Year has one story for every month, and every story is keyed to a holiday, or for the summer months, to an event. So the event is me learning to surf which is semi-autobiographical. I did try to learn how to surf. A new friend who was a sexy surfer dude decided to teach me how, even though I didn't want to. Took me out on the surfboard and said, "Get on." And I thought, I don't know how to swim. We did buy matching swimsuits, and the rest of it, when you read the story, which I hope you will, I'll leave up to your imagination. So I will read a few minutes for you. The invitation to Jonas's house had mentioned a pool. We changed in his bedroom, which was as big as my parents'. I turned my back on his shedding of clothing and stepped into navy-plaid swim trunks. When I dared look again, my eyes followed the treasure trail down his abdomen and belly into minimal turquoise-colored cloth and the conspicuous bulge inside it. There he is. Jonas laughed at my open-mouthed stare and took off running. I ran after him through the house and into the pool. He parted the water with a competitive dive, and I followed with mine a second or two later. "You've got a good stroke, Jay," I heard him say as I came up for air at the end of a lap. "Ever surf?" "No," I admitted. "I was on the swim team, though," I offered as an alternate credential. "Oh, man, it's so sick, I could teach you," he responded, brushing aside my varsity swimming experience. "Maybe," I said, trying to sound interested before I pushed off for another lap. I was afraid my other interest was showing through my shorts. After our swim and one of his dad's beers, we sunned ourselves until Jonas decided it was go to shop at the mall. "That's okay," I said. "I better go home." "Nope," he said. "You need to update your wardrobe." Jonas snapped the elastic waistband of my baggies, sending sexual reverberations up my torso. "I thought surfers wore board shorts," I said as I pretended to readjust my attire. I was saving for a car and wary of spending money on anything else. "On a board," he emphasized, "but around the pool, you need to get a tan." At Stone Ridge Mall, we walked right past the mainland surf and skate shop. "Hey," I said, "it's back there." Jonas looked over his shoulder. "Not there, brah. Macy's is having a sale." A well-groomed, citrus-scented salesman followed us into the post-summer swimsuit clearance section. I admired the sale prices until I noticed the clerk hovering near Jonas. But Jonas ignored him and burrowed hurriedly through the piles under the Speedos sign. "What's your size?" he asked. I started to say I had several Speedos from being on the swim team, but just answered, 30. He looked up with that happy, lopsided grin of his. "Hey, same as me. Here," he announced, back to business, handing me a swimsuit with barely enough fabric to qualify as a garment. "You like red, right?" I did from then on. The handsome salesman turned snooty when he turned to me. "You'll have to try it on under your underwear," he pronounced, crisply, like I was the deformed twin in the movie Basket Case. Jonas frowned deeply and jabbed the clerk once in the name tag with a long index finger. "Look, Seth, it fits. If it fits, I'll buy it. If it doesn't, I'll still buy it." Seth lost the attitude immediately. Okay, he said, hands up, backing off. He was just another 20-something poser after all. On the way to the changing room, Jonas kept muttering underwear and cocksucker under his breath, looking back at Seth. He only stopped when we were in the changing room. As far as I could tell, we were the only ones there. I chose a cubicle, stripped fast, and slid the Speedo up my legs equally quickly. When I exited the cubicle, Jonas whistled, which made me blush and worry even more about how I looked. "Hey, Studmeister," he exclaimed, then turned me around, holding onto my shoulders while he looked. He stopped me facing the mirror. "Hot, brah, you like?" "Yes, but what?" "Nothing," I said, silenced by the strength of his hands. He gave me a playful shove. "Hey, I'm going to get one too. Here, let me try yours on." He yanked the Speedo down my legs before I knew what was happening, and then grinned. "Uh-oh, somebody's feeling sexy. Step out of that thing and get some clothes on. Seth might not be able to control himself." He started discarding his clothing while I got into mine. After I pulled my shirt over my head, I saw him modeling in the three-way mirror. "All three ways look mighty good to me." "I guess it would be too matchy-matchy if I got a red one too," he said, not really asking me. "But I've already got blue and yellow." Hell, he answered himself, stripping the tiny swimsuit off his perfectly tanned thighs and exposing the perfectly pale skin inside the tan lines. Who cares? He tossed the suit to me. I decided then and there I'd never wash it. Thank you for listening. And as I said,
all three ways looked perfectly good to me. Love it.
And we have a contest, and I'll mention that because it kind of goes with what I've been saying. And the contest is that you explain to us in chat what's your favorite summer song. Like Will I See You in September, whatever the name of that song is, or something like that. And 2 or 3 lines is enough. You don't need to write an autobiography for us. It's only a 45-minute program, folks. But we will each pick our favorite answer, and then we'll award a prize. And my prize, keyed to my story, is a $25 Macy's gift certificate to buy your own Speedo or whatever you want. We also each, Tonya, Hadley, and I talk about holidays during Time with Love, the given month's holidays. And my July holiday is the UN International Day of Friendship, since my story is about friendship that becomes love. That is July 30th, so it's still coming up, folks. You can still celebrate. And the idea is that friendship between countries, cultures, and individuals can make a difference in the world. It can inspire peace efforts, and it can build bridges between countries, cultures, and individuals. So what can you do in July or anytime? You can travel to a different country. You can go to a cultural fair for a culture that celebrates a culture not your own. And you can keep yourself open to making new friends. And those are some of the things you can do, but there's lots. And now I will toss it to Tonya.
Thank you. I really like the question that you came up with for this month. It made me think about a song that I think of as a guilty pleasure, but I don't really feel guilt about having pleasure in music. But Cake by the Ocean is one of those songs that, technically it's not the most amazing song, but it's so fun. And whenever I hear it, I start dancing. So
I don't know if summer songs, or any of them, are not that amazing. They're kind of light and fun.
It's just catchy and fun, and I enjoy it. So it's my guilty pleasure that I don't feel that much guilt listening to. But it's my turn to talk about my calendar-themed book. For those of you who are new to the program, my book is not a romance book so much. It is called 52 Love, which is a book about intimacy tips. It gives you 1 tip per week for an entire year. And today's tip ties into our guest, but a little bit to our guest, but you'll have to figure that out as we go along. So get out of character to get into character. This week, let's stretch our imagination in a different direction. Many anticipate Halloween as a yearly excuse to transform, an opportunity to shed one's day-to-day appearance for something more exciting. Trying new things together keeps relationships fresh. For week 29 of 52 Love, transform your relationship by ditching your everyday costumes. Cosplay can be as simple as dressing like beloved characters from a television series, or as detailed as manifesting meticulous recreations of larger-than-life superheroes. Escape from everyday monotony by bringing your fantasies to life. As a portmanteau of costume and play, cosplay allows a fun way to reveal pieces of yourself that may usually stay hidden. Couples cosplay encourages you to explore those pieces together. You can dress as a fictional couple, share individual favorites with each other, or cater to each other's whims. Perhaps your partner has a character crush whose look really excites her. Imagine how she'll respond when you dress that way. Some people want to jump right into character without the hassle of sewing and gluing pieces. Others love the thrill of developing the looks from scratch. Whether you and your partner choose to buy or create, embrace the chance to embark in a new adventure together. If you're new to cosplay, no need to spend exorbitant amounts of money on costumes or props. You'll be surprised at the treasures you can find in thrift stores or clearance sections. And if you and your partner have already dabbled in cosplaying, maybe it's time to elevate your game with more elaborate costumes. Get creative with gender-bending versions, or develop interpretations that you've always wanted to see. If one of you is too shy to go all out, wear something that doesn't attract more attention than you desire. The subtle suspenders from your Doctor Who getup may not garner the same recognition as full-blown stormtrooper armor, but what the common observer misses becomes a shared secret between you and your partner. Rather than focus on outward dress alone, pay homage to the qualities you admire in the character. Sprinkle your conversation with phrases from your character's unique vocabulary. Stepping into the boots of a powerful character can boost your confidence. Many cosplayers are shy, yet once they slip into their costumes, the character's traits shield the wearer from perceived vulnerabilities. This new strength can lead to playtime with your partner. Give yourselves permission to behave more boldly than you might ordinarily. Reinvent yourself and your roles. Adjust your plans to your mutual level of comfort, and since you and your partner define the rules, there's no way to fail. In time, you and your partner may extend your cosplay into bigger adventures. Throw a themed party, hit the Renaissance Fair, dress up for a children's charity. I'm not suggesting you sign up for the next cosplay convention, though if you and your partner are game, why not go for it? Whether it's for private enjoyment, public spectacle, or somewhere in between, revel in the new dimension cosplay can add to your relationship. And today's holiday for me, I kind of have two. The first one is the one that kind of relates to what we were just discussing. Embrace Your Geekness Day. And it's one of the reasons I have Tony here today. Embrace Your Geekness Day is a holiday I didn't know about until I started researching July holidays. It's a special time to, kind of go into your particular fandom, whether you love wizards or space adventures or epic fantasies or superheroes. You can get excited about things that others might find quirky or nerdy. Shine a light on the forms of geekness that matter to you, whether it's comic books or coding or everything in between, basically. Years ago, being called a geek might have been something entirely different, something negative. But today, being a geek means that you're passionate and knowledgeable, invested in your interests. Geeks are the ones who are innovating and a lot of times ruling parts of the world, like you're creating new and exciting ways to look at the universe. So today, maybe not today, but this month for Embrace Your Geekness Day, wear a piece of clothing that shouts your interests loud and proud. It could be tights and a cape or just an insignia for a distant galaxy. You can binge watch your most beloved geeky films or television series, or you could introduce a friend to a captivating book series or an intricate board game. Learn something new about your fandom. But the important thing is that this goes beyond having fun. It's a reminder that our differences make us special and that being passionate about something is a superpower in its own right. And that leads me to my next special day, which is not one that is unknown like some of the others that we discuss. I mean, we all have, well, not all, because we're not all Americans, but Independence Day is a pretty big holiday here, one that we all know, and it doesn't really need more visibility. But I wanted to talk about it because despite the complicated history of oppression that this country has, I love my country. And I want to reclaim patriotism for the people dedicated to what America is supposed to mean. And this is a celebration of love. And I think that we should be allowed to love our country unapologetically while acknowledging its problematic history. There is no country without a problematic history. That these things happen everywhere because people happen. But we should look at what America is supposed to mean, embrace that, and use that love moving forward. And I don't want an American flag to cause negativity in your thoughts. Too often you see someone showing an American flag, and unfortunately, some people in this country have given that a bad name. So I want to reclaim patriotism for what America is supposed to mean. And my other reason for wanting to talk about this is that there was a recent discovery that relates to my family. A few years back, the Daughters of the American Revolution contacted my family to share that they had traced back a soldier, one of the soldiers depicted on that famous portrait of Washington crossing the Delaware, to our direct line. So the third man on the boat is named Oliver Cromwell. His great-great-granddaughter is my great-great-grandmother. And so I wanted to honor him by sharing about a holiday that is as much mine to claim as anyone else descended from our founding fathers. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about Independence Day. Independence Day is celebrated on July 4th. It is a patriotic holiday for celebrating the United States. It's a day to give thanks for the freedom and liberties fought by the first generation of many of today's Americans. In 1775, people in the 13 colonies began fighting the British under King George III for their own independence. On July 2nd, 1776, Congress secretly voted for independence from Great Britain. 2 days later, on July 4th, 1776, the final wording of the Declaration of Independence was approved and the document was published. And I also wanted to note that Native Americans lived in this country at that time, and each tribe had their own nation and government prior to European settlers. So again, our history is full of troubling truths, but it's also full of hope, liberty, and justice for all. And I would like those to be what we are trying to celebrate now. And related to both of these things that we were discussing today, maybe not Independence Day so much, but Embrace Your Geekness Day, my prize for today is Comics Lit, which is the essay series that I co-edited and contributed to with our guest, A.R. Farina. Who not only is he the latest guest here, but he is also going to be contributing to our end of year contest, which is every guest that we've had on here, and then each of us are going to donate a book for an entire library. So the person who engages the most throughout the entire year, the attendee who engages the most throughout the entire year, is going to win an entire library from all of the authors who have been present on Time with Love. And so, Tony, which book are you going to give away as we shift the mic to you just for a moment?
Well, I will happily give away a copy of the first book in my Austen Chronicles series, Welcome to Mansfield. Best place to start is the beginning. So I love that that's the grand prize. So yes, I'll happily contribute that.
Excellent. And with that, we will move to Hadley, and
Well,
then
could we talk just a minute so people are clear on what participate? I mean, you can enter the contest, and you can comment and chat while we're talking.
Oh, what engagement means? Yeah.
So different ways to engage, and we hope that even if you don't want to enter the contest, you're too shy, that you will comment about, say, our readings or how we look or whatever. Excuse me,
There it is.
Or how lovely the book cover is, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Very nice.
love that book cover. Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, thank you for that, Tonya. You were talking about Geek Month, the Geeker, Day.
This day.
I noticed that I was in a nerds group and on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, I'll stay here. These are my people. So
Yes.
I like that.
You're in a nerds group right now.
That's true.
There you go. I appreciate that. So I am going to jump in a little bit about my stuff that I have going on. I am the author of the Bachelor series, Bachelor of the Month, and we're going to be talking about Mr. July today. Things are heating up just like the 4th of July, like Tonya was just talking about. Genesis Jones, our star reporter, is back, and she's doing what she does best, and that is profiling New York's most eligible bachelors for Forrester Media. And this time she's got her eye on Everett Ferris. He is the New York Mets third base all-star with a body that could stop traffic and a pass he's not quite over. So when Everett reconnects with Gianna O'Brien, the girl next door, he never forgot. Old sparks fly fast, starting with a steamy yoga class and then turning into a media frenzy that includes ex-drama, gala nights, and a whole lot of unresolved tension. And this is not just a sexy sports romance, though it is that. It's also about what happens when love comes home, when the places and people that shaped us still hold on to our hearts. And so for today's excerpt, I'm talking and taking us straight into a summer cookout where there's memories in the backyard and, yes, a treehouse moment that just might lead to something more. So this is an excerpt from Mr. July. We pull up to his family home, and I'm struck by a wave of nostalgia. It looks almost exactly the same, a single family home with a welcoming front porch and a backyard that holds so many memories. As we step out of the car, I take it all in, feeling a rush of emotions. Everett leads me through the house, his hand gently guiding me. Come on, I want to show you something, he says, his voice soft. We walk through the family room until we reach the backyard. The patio doors are open, letting in a breeze. The pool sparkles under the soft glow of the twinkling lights that Everett turns on. The scene is magical, transporting me back to 10 years to the 4th of July. I can almost hear the fireworks, smell the cookout, and feel the anticipation of that night. He turns to me, a tender look in his eyes. Remember this, he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. I'd nod, my head pounding. How could I forget? We sit by the pool, the night air warm and filled with memories. The twinkling lights create a cozy, intimate atmosphere. It's like stepping back in time with the added weight of everything that's happened since. Gianna, Everett says, his voice breaking through my thoughts. As I thought about this place so many times, about us, I look at him, seeing this sincerity in his eyes. Me too, I admit, my voice trembling slightly. He reaches out, taking my hand in his. I want to make new memories with you, starting tonight. His words send a shiver down my spine, and I squeeze his hand, feeling the surge of emotions. I like that, I whisper. We sit there, our hands intertwined, the past and present blending together in ways that feels right. For the first time in a long time, I feel at home, not just in this place, but with Everett. He brings my fingers to his lips and kisses them, his eyes as blue as ever, reflecting the pool's shimmering water. I promised you a meal. I'm sure you're hungry, he says, his voice soft and close, his body heat radiating towards me. I mean, I had a couple of snacks at the stadium, I say, smiling, but I can eat. He chuckles, of course. Can I give you anything to drink? I'm going to heat up the grill. I have a chef who prepares meals for me throughout the week. It helps when I'm on the road or on homestands. I believe there are some kebabs in the refrigerator, kind of a Hawaiian vibe. I also have some rum punch to go with it. Absolutely, that sounds delicious. Can I help you with anything? You know, I make a great sous chef, I say, eager to share in the moment. He turns and grins, likely remembering as much as I do the fun times we had as teenagers during cookouts with our parents in these backyards. Our parents would make us run into the house to grab condiments or help with other tasks, teaching us skills we didn't realize we were learning. Now, here we are alone, reminiscing and bringing those lifelong skills back into play. Absolutely, you could be my sous chef anytime you want, Gianna, he says, sincerity in his voice. I follow him back into the house, feeling the wave of nostalgia. The kitchen right off the patio and connected to the deck and the pool haven't changed much. Maybe some new decorations, but it's all still familiar. I look around, memories flooding back. Once Everett left for college, I stopped coming over for Ferris's cookouts that my parents still attend. I always found an excuse, summer jobs at the rec center or waiting tables. It was always something to avoid seeing him, even if it was just for a few days. I felt foolish, especially when I'd get updates through Emily at school, who was never short of stories about Everett. When he first left, he had sent emails and social media requests, but I ignored most of them. I know it was petty, but I didn't care. Hindsight is always 20/20, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to maybe mend some of those broken bridges. We start preparing the meal together, the familiarity of the old routine bringing sense of comfort. As he steps up from the grill, I help by arranging the kebabs on the platter and mixing the rum punch. Being here in his kitchen, it feels like old times, with a new layer of understanding between us. Everett looks at me, his eyes soft. I miss this, he says quietly. Me too, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. So that's the excerpt. I'm going to pause there for now. Right after this, there is a moment of truth that leads to something a little more in that treehouse. You'll have to read the rest to find out what happens up there. But let's just say the backyard gets a whole new memory added to that collection. See, the story isn't just about romance, it's about reunions. It's about what happens when you come home and realize that the pieces that you thought were long gone might still fit. And that brings me to our July theme. This month on A Time with Love, we're exploring family reunion and preservation, not just in the literal sense of cookouts, pool parties, or tree houses, but in how we preserve legacies, memories, and relationships that matter. So it's about what we carry with us from the past, what we choose to build, and how we love, old and new, and we can reconnect to where we've been, and it can remind us who we were always meant to be. This month for family reunions, it's not just for the potato salad and matching t-shirts. Reunions start as a way for families, especially I know for Black families, that started in post-Great Migration, to stay connected across cities and generations. And they're sacred ground for storytelling, for remembering where we came together and where we came from, and bridging the gaps in times and distance that created. And then also we're learning about preservation, not just of heirlooms or photos in an old shoebox, but of love, legacy, and identity, and what we choose in protecting our past. What memories, what values, what truths, all that goes into that. And sometimes we can get into that. We get lost in like the noise of life and all that, but preservation is an act of love, and it's a choice we make sometimes daily. So thank you for spending time with me, letting me share a little more about my book, Mr. July, part of the Bachelor series. This is book 7 to be exact. And that's it. I mean, for the summer song that I like, I always think of Summer Love by Justin Timberlake. Like, it just got that beat. It reminds me of being in my Jeep with the back down and just pumping that up and rocking to it. So, depending on who, is entering this contest, I'm giving away a free copy of Mr. July. So thank you.
So start tippy typing in the chat, folks, with your favorite summer song, and tell us why. Thank you.
So, Mr. Farina.
Hello.
Over
Thank
to
you. Well, thank you for having me here. This is a fascinating, both things are really interesting, the things that you're doing, the holidays. I actually, on my Instagram and Facebook, I actually do every month, I pick like a holiday. Like last December, it was World Twins Day. And then I select a book that you would read. And so it was like the Wonder Twins reboot of the Wonder Twins graphic novel. For July, actually, it's July 9th is UFO. And I had no idea you guys are doing this. So I pulled up my list real quick because I didn't have them all memorized. But July 9th is UFO Day. And the book I recommend that you read is I Am Number 4, the first of the Lorien Legacy series. So I always am trying to, whatever the holiday is, I try to give a book recommendation that goes along with that. So if you follow me,
there's also Cousin's Day, which that might be an interesting twist on what you talk about.
That is very true. Yeah, no, that is very true. Yeah, because it's like I've got a whole list of them all. So like I try to pick the ones that are like.
I'm just saying you could recommend Welcome to Mansfield.
I could,
even though it's
absolutely, yes, 100%.
sorority cousins, but
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's fantastic. Yeah. So anyway, and then the summer song, again, interesting in the book that we're talking about today, that other Dashwood girl. All of my books have a running soundtrack in them. And if you go to my website, there's a link to the Spotify playlist that goes along. So every song that's mentioned in the book is real or even hinted at, and then you can sort of listen along. And Maggie's favorite songwriter turned out to be, and I didn't really know until I was writing the book, singer-songwriter Matt Nathanson. And he has a song called Gold in the Summertime, which is the very last song mentioned in the book. So that is an amazing, glorious summer song as well. If you've never heard it, I highly recommend Gold in the Summertime by Matt Nathanson. Anyway, National Cousins Day. Look at that. Wow, quick. Joe is amazing. So thank you all for having me. So my book series, the Austen Chronicles, is a retelling of the Jane Austen, the 6 main Jane Austen books set in a shared universe. So the characters know each other, they bump into each other, and they interact. And the second book that I'm here to talk about, That Other Dashwood Girl, is a retelling of Sense and Sensibility. So Hadley, when you were talking, I misheard you, and I heard Edward Ferrars. You said Everett.
Oh.
But Edward Ferrars, who is Eleanor's love interest in the original, and there is a version of Edward Ferrars in my book as well. So anyway, I was like, what are the odds? But you said, and then I heard it the second time. I was like, oh, so close. Anyway, so I will read to you the first chapter. So my version of Sense and Sensibility is called That Other Dashwood Girl, and Maggie Dashwood, young Margaret Dashwood, is the main character. So the events of Sense and Sensibility happen, but they're told through the littlest sister's perspective, who is so often forgotten that she doesn't even appear in some adaptations. There are some film adaptations that just don't even have Margaret in it. So I've put her front and center. So the first chapter is called Family Ties. And my narrator, by the way, has opinions and pops in. So when you hear that, you'll know that happens throughout the whole book. There's an old saying that says something about blood being thicker than water. Of course, scientifically, this is a fact. The viscosity of blood, whether it is flowing freely in a horror movie or locked away inside the body, flowing in the veins and arteries where it belongs, is much thicker than water. That saying is used, as most trite phrases are, in an attempt to explain the reason for something that is actually much more nuanced. Skinning dead cats multiple ways and beating dead horses have, thankfully, little to do with animal abuse, just as being blood thicker than water has little to do with measuring the thickness of blood or water. Generally, the person who utters this comparison between blood and water is trying to manipulate a family member into doing something that person has no interest in doing. Oftentimes, the person who says this phrase wants his children not to bicker during a holiday meals. Other times, it's asked to skip the best friend's birthday party to attend the wedding of that first cousin once removed. These favors are mundane, and they often lead to the persuaded person having a fine enough time. And when that person looks back on the event, the person will feel some fondness without any rancor. However, there are times when blood is thicker than water card is played, and the ask is so big that the person simply can't abide by the wishes of the asker. It may be that a car breaks down 3 hours away in the middle of the night, or worse yet, a crime might need to be covered up and/or bail money is required. And in these cases, most reasonable people agree that blood thickness is irrelevant, and the person in need of the favor should call a tow truck, a lawyer, or a bail bondsman. When things like this occur, family strife often follow, yet it is rarely long-lasting and becomes the fodder for an excellent story at the next family function. There is still one more instance, and that is much rarer. As the person is preparing to shuffle off this mortal coil, the person asks an extended family to come together and live in harmony and attempt to heal some long-standing rift. In some tales, the family dynamics are so broken that this is simply impossible. The person asking knows this, but is just trying to leave this existence on a positive note. In other cases, the person's final wishes go unheard for a variety of tragic or petty reasons. More often still, the person who is tasked with doing the one final favor for the rest of the family is simply not up to the tasks. Oftentimes, the person asked is the oldest, or born male, or both. Science has yet to prove that being born oldest or male or both makes one more competent than the younger siblings of any gender, yet cultures all around the globe hang on to this myth. It could be that the person is not very capable, or that the person is easily manipulated. In extremely rare circumstances, the failure is the result of someone being both inept and gullible. Rarities do happen from time to time, and thus our tales begin with a gullible, inept firstborn, who also happens to be a man, asked to fulfill his father's final wishes. Being an easily led nincompoop, he sets in motion a series of events that will find one of his sisters near death, one caught up in absurd love triangle, even though she loathes love triangles, and finds them tiresome in fiction and in real life, and one who will ultimately be the heroine of this tale, packing her bags to attend university in an entirely different country. And that's the first chapter. Thank you. I'm a bad reader aloud. Thank you for indulging me.
You were a good reader, so
You're
don't put
very
yourself down.
Thank you.
So we do ask some questions about your book. if you would indulge us.
I
in
would
the
love to.
answers. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So we do ask questions set around what our themes were. So I talked about preservation and legacy. So in your story, Maggie faces grief and major life change. So how does she hold on to her sense of self through it all?
That is an excellent question. So yeah, as you hear from the beginning, there's a family tragedy, and everything that she thinks she knows is upended. And it takes place in the modern day, and so she tries to hang on to herself, even though her whole house is taken away from her, and she moves in with cousins that she doesn't even know. She hangs on. Her room is set up very the same. The things she loves, her art. She continues to do. She continues to draw. She continues to do those things. But as the story unfolds, there's a moment where she has the opportunity to hang on to a few items. And this spoiler alert for their father is the one that dies. She manages to hang on to a few of his keepsakes, and actually a couple of those change. You couldn't have known it, but those few things really set her whole life in a different direction, in how she looks and what she likes and the way that she perceives art and herself. And just a few little keepsakes that everyone else in the family thought were like, oh, we're going to give those, we're donating those to charity. But she found this connection to her father now that he's long gone, and so that was a real way for her to not only figure out more about herself, but also to to remember her dad in that way.
Cool.
I wanted to ask a question about friendship and community. People who don't know Jane Austen, are there any people like that in the world?
There are.
People who don't know Jane Austen don't know that she covers very serious subjects as well as romance. And the four female Dashwood's lives are turned upside down when the father dies. They change dramatically. And the Dashwoods rely on others to rebuild their lives. What role does chosen family, which is very important to me as a gay person, or unexpected community play in the story?
Oh, I love the question, Richard, because it is so important. Found family is and Rhea, if Rhea is hearing this, Rhea's cheering. Our friend Rhea Kerrigan loves found family stories. It is very important, and sometimes, and this is true even in Jane Austen novels, the actual blood family is often the one that turns on you and hurts you and doesn't even stab you in the back, but stabs you in the front while smiling. And so you look for those people. So Maggie feels very lost. She is often the forgotten because she's just kind of a quiet, good kid. And so in this, there are a few people that she meets that really change her life. In the original book, Grandma Jennings, Mrs. Jennings, sort of is almost like a clownish character. She's interested in the gossip. My version of Gran really becomes very important to Maggie, and really gives her a sense of self and sees her. And then there's a few other characters that she meets that see her for who she is and give her space to talk and to be her own person. And then there's the Middleton children who are younger than her, who end up looking up to her like a little sister, even though they're, like distant cousins. And so she would never have met these people if it weren't for the unfortunate circumstance. And so you are right. There's always a very heavy topic, but then how do you get through it? Who are the people in your life, and how do they help you become who you are? And so as the people come in and out of her life, yeah, even the narrator will tell you, this person is important to her forever, and this person was just a blip. So we don't even need to give that person a first name, and we don't. So
yeah, I love that in particular because I consider you part of my found family.
For real. Yeah, I know. Same. Yeah, thank you for that, Richard. I agree. I know it's perfect timing for him to ask that question too.
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah. My question has to do with independence and self-discovery. So Maggie begins life on a path that's chosen for her. How does this journey, the loss and the change, push her to find her own voice?
That is a great question. So yeah, because she's the youngest child, the youngest girl of a family, and they're very well-to-do. And early on, you learn that they all went to in England. There's one everywhere. There's private schools and there's public schools, but this book takes place in England, and so the older siblings went to private school because that's just what you did. Because their dad went to private school because their older brother, who is from their father's previous marriage, he went to a private school, and this is just what happened. And so if the tragedy doesn't befall the Dashwood women, then Maggie's just going to be that kid. And this is not that much of a spoiler alert, but I'm going to just, if you want to cover your ears. So, because you meet Maggie in the first book, this is a bit of a prequel, but this is, Maggie's already out in the other book, but this is also her coming out story in this. And so whether or not she would have been able to come out as, and I say gracefully with finger quotes because she stumbles and stubs her toe a lot, which is one of the things I love so much about her. But whether, I don't know that it would have happened the way that it happened with the level of grace that happens because, as Richard mentions, those found family and the people around her. So coming here, moving to the south of England, living with the Middletons, that really frees her up to have these people who just want to love her. There's no judgment. There's none of that. And so it really, and then she meets other people who can guide her. One person calls herself her queer Yoda. And so it's to help her on her journey as she comes out. And so she would never have met that character, and that would have definitely changed, her life, probably for the worse. And she wouldn't have made it to Mansfield. That's for sure.
Well, I want to give credit where credit is definitely due. Hadley comes up with our guest author questions, but she's wonderful about matching our interests to the questions. So thank you, Hadley.
Those are great. I appreciate it, Hadley. Thank you.
That's Genesis Jones. That's my character.
All right. Well, go Genesis. Yeah. And it's Everett Ferris, everybody.
Everett
not
Ferris,
Edward. Yeah. Not Edward Ferris.
And if we're giving credit where credit is due, she comes up with fantastic questions. But Richard, you put a lot of yourself in the asking of it because
Yes,
you
you
are a Jane Austen fan, and you knew, the story. You could tell, all right, so the initial question was given to me, but I have made it my own with my history of Jane Austen.
Can I say, is this fair to say that A.R. Farina is my favorite guest author of the year?
Aw. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Jane, she's one of those characters. When I started writing this series, it was just for me. I had written the first book, Welcome to Mansfield, just for me. I think Mansfield Park is misunderstood, and I love it. I love Mansfield Park, and I had done a lot of studying on that character, on Fanny Price, for my Master's of Fine Arts. And so she was just sitting there. And so as I was writing it, I just thought, it would be fun to put it in a shared universe and have the president of the university be Mary Bennett and have one of the tour guides be Walt Musgrove, the youngest son from Persuasion. And we'll have Maggie Bennett or Maggie Dashwood be there. And we'll have Dr. Allen from Northanger Abbey there. So I just had the other characters from the other books in there. And I was just going to write it as a standalone. And it was actually, again, as it all comes together, Tonya was the one who said, you should check out this company, Four Horsemen. They're open publication. So she sent me the link. And they were only looking for series. And this wasn't a series at first. But so my wife and I were talking about it. And I was like, it could be. Why couldn't it be? And so I pitched it as a series. And my books are not necessarily like a lot of the other Four Horsemen books. They're a lot steamier than mine. Mine are all very sweet because they're Jane Austen. There's, even in this book, I've given Marianne Dashwood a potty mouth, but you never hear it. It always happens off page. And the narrator says, we don't need to see that. We don't need to read that. This isn't that kind of book. But we know that Marianne is swearing and everything off page. And so
even your asides, though, are so on brand with back when the narrator would say, dear reader.
Dear reader, yes, dear reader. The narrator speaks right to you in these, and so it's a lot. So once I figured out how to do that, so I'm thankful to Tonya for sending me them, and to Bo Lake, who is one of the editors over there, who somehow ended up on her plate, and she was like, I think we need to give this one a chance. It's not like the other things we do, but I'm very thankful. And so then once I decided to pitch it as a series, it has really come together, and I find that I can't imagine it in a different way now. So I'm really thrilled. Yeah. So because Austen for the win, right? That's a story we can retell forever and ever. Yesterday, did you know this? Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the release of Clueless.
Wow.
Ooh.
One of my favorite movies.
Favorite Jane Emma adaptation, hands down. Yes.
Yeah.
1995, July 19th.
So a blood connection is not necessary to love someone enough to keep them in my heart. I would miss out on some impossible to live without family members.
That's totally true. That is very, very well said.
So folks, you still have time. but not a lot.
Not
But
a
you still
lot.
have time to tippy type and give us your favorite summer song and why. And you might win a prize.
And in the meantime, do we have any quick questions for Tony that we have not already asked? I feel like he was very thorough, but in case anyone has a burning question, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions for him.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the next book?
The next one to come out. So the next one that comes out in October, thanks for asking, or available for pre-order now, is called Universal Truth. It's actually right there on my bookshelf. The cover's red this time. It is the retelling of Pride and Prejudice from Mary Bennett's perspective. So so President Bennett, who's the president of our fictional university, was also a gift winner, and so this is her. It takes place in 1989. It is very a love letter to the Gen Xers, and is her story of how she comes there. And Mary Bennett, I feel Mary Bennett is often given the back seat in the retelling of any Pride and Prejudice adaptation. Even Joe Wright's the best one. Even that Mary Bennett, I love the actor. I don't love what they do with her. So I put her center stage and let her tell her own story. And so that's next. And then it will be Emma, which is my version is called Jane, which is Jane Fairfax is the main character. It's and then the one I'm working on now, which I was working on this morning and we'll work on again this afternoon, is called Haunting Northanger, which is Northanger Abbey. And then we'll end with Persuasion, which the title is still TBD on that one.
I love it that Jane Fairfax is getting a book. I always thought she deserved a book.
She is the best, and my version of Jane, and she's considered like Emma's rival, but she doesn't know what she did, and so in my version of the book, she's well aware. She's like, what's your damage, Emma? What did I do to you? Like, I don't understand why we don't like you. So that's very fun. Yeah.
So Joe has a question.
Oh, yay.
Do we even like Jane Austen adaptations like the zombie movies, or is there a line to our love of Jane Austen?
Oh, I have an answer, but I mean...
Yeah, well, the question is for you.
Oh, okay. No, I love Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I thought that book was delightful. I did think that the movie took itself too seriously. The book is the tongue is very planted in the cheek in the book. And there's a follow-up to that one called Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. And in that one, Maggie Dashwood gets her due and she runs. That's the only version where I think Maggie Dashwood is totally seen in the way that I would see her. So I think that they're fun. I'm here for all of the adaptations. I would say outside of Clueless, the best, there's a Bollywood musical of Pride and Prejudice called Bride and Prejudice. 10 out of 10 Austen pens. It is glorious and all the fun. You've seen it, Richard? Oh my God, it's so good, right? Wonderful. So yeah, I mean, I think
we're going to start a Jane Austen fan club here.
I mean, I'm happy to do that. I think I would say to the question. I think, and I would love to hear the other Janeites on hear what you guys have to say. But I think it's the earnestness level. I think sometimes there's straight adaptations, like period piece adaptations that just maybe aren't very good, or even if they're set in the modern day, they're a little too self-serious or self-serving. So I think it's the intention of the filmmaker. And if you're loving the source material and you're acknowledging the joy and the satire and the social commentary that Jane has, I think Zombies and Sea Monsters and Bollywood musicals can work.
I loved the multi-season adaptation of Sanditon, or one of her unfinished novels. Because I've read really great continuations of it, but that really brought out the themes that she wanted to talk. She was talking about slavery. She was talking about the changes in England, the industrialization, and how towns were being created out of nothing and out of no traditions. Very important subjects, and I'm glad that they presented them more thoroughly because most people never read Sanditon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the original finished version, the one with Jane Austen and another lady, isn't great. You can see the break where it doesn't. But I agree with you. That's part of the reason I'm a little nervous to tackle Sanditon in its entirety, because that was so good and it's so fresh. Although for Tonya's essay or short story collections, I will be writing thing about Sanditon for in her fourth short story, 52 Love Collection, about sunsets. That's about as far as I'm willing to go because I'm a little nervous.
Well,
I agree.
I'd love to have a book about the heiress.
Yeah,
She's such an intriguing character.
100%. She is, for sure.
Well, maybe we should go on to judging the contest. So,
Yeah, let's do it.
Wayne Goodman, who's that guy? Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft, 1972, takes me back to my high school days. Oh.
Summer Breeze. Oh, I better not sing it. I don't want you guys to get sued for doing it. Sorry, I almost did it. Ooh, Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys popped up, I see. That's a great one.
Birthday by the Beatles, not a summer song, but I have an extra fun memory of listening to it while going really fast on rides. And Seaside Heights, also Under the Boardwalk by the D.
I love Under the Boardwalk because I'm by far the oldest one in this group, and so I remember that when it first came out.
Oh, okay.
Those are all good ones. Under the Boardwalk is a banger.
I do like
And
that.
obviously the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys is, we just lost Brian recently, and that was a heartbreaker for me because some of my earliest memories as a child were laying in the basement with big over-ear headphones listening to 8 tracks of the Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
I tried dressing up like the Beach Boys.
Yeah? Is that in which way? In the red and white striped shirts and white pants way?
Yeah, the big old summer shirts.
Yeah.
No, I didn't dress up with my my board shorts on the surfboard.
Yeah.
I grew up in Sacramento. We didn't surf in Sacramento.
Mm.
Rick, I've noticed a going theme with you. You like to dress up.
You know, and maybe
It's on
Tanya's
brand
gonna
with
get me
today's
to-
conversation.
Yeah.
He's gonna get me to a con yet. I did dress up. I did go to Ren Fair once. A friend talked me
Nice.
into doing drag, and never to be done again because I was a very ugly woman. But I'm 6'1", and I had these clogs on, and so I was gigantic, and I had this beautiful dress on, but I was really ugly.
I mean, I say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I bet lots of people told RuPaul that he would not be a very beautiful woman, and then she was.
Absolutely.
It still is.
Killing it every time, too.
Right. Set the bar real high.
Absolutely.
All that height and then the heels, you know?
Oh, we have another entry.
Oh, yeah, I like that one. Summertime. Yes.
You know what? I have to choose that as my winner because that is my sister's favorite artist. And I talked about my family, the sister that I share with that heritage. So it just feels like it has to be it. And I also love that song. That's my favorite.
Well, I'm going to do
That's
Under
my
the
second
Boardwalk.
favorite DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince song.
I'm going to do Under the Boardwalk because I like that song.
Nice.
Oh, and people, please, so we can connect with you, please, if you're picked as a winner, in chat, give us your email so we can connect with you, please.
I'll go with the Summer Breeze. I believe that one wasn't picked.
Yeah, and of course, Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys. Anytime you can do a Beach Boys song,
Yes.
that is an excellent choice. Yes.
So thank you, winners.
Yes. Thank you for
entering,
participating. And I want to give Tony one opportunity to share where people can follow him and support his work.
Well, thank you again. Thank you all. It was lovely to meet you, Richard and Hadley. I thank you for having me on here. This was a delight. Thank you for inviting me, Tonya, Wonder Twin. And yes, AR, if you just go to arfarina.com, you'll see a really beautiful website that was created and maintained by my wife. And it looks great because when I had my own website, it looked like a janky jank box. And she was like, hey, now that you've got a book deal, why don't we make that look nice? And so it does. Anyway, so you can go there. All the links to everything are there. Links to the books, links to the book Tonya and I did together. Some appearances I did on Tanya's Glorious Femme podcast collective, and other fun things there. So songs I've written, books I've done. And if you want to listen along while you're reading, the playlists are available there too.
So now I'm going to do our thank yous. We want to thank you, AR, for joining us and for making it so much fun. It was a fun episode. And I want to thank everyone who joined us, the people who made comments especially and entered the contest. Thank you very much. But thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you, Joe, who is our puppet master and keeps us going. Thanks very much.
Yes, grabbing some of those pictures offline so fast.
Expert.
That it looked planned, but it was not, you know.
I thought it was planned.
Nice job. And we do want to remind everyone, you know, come back, engage with us, give us your answers to these trivia questions. You can even ask questions after the fact because we do check that. And all of that counts toward that end of the year library prize that we are going to give someone.
Perfect. And then I want to invite everybody back next month, August 17th. We'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel. We do have our guest author, who is C.A. McConey. She is excited to join us. She's the author of Priceless and Pelican Point, is an enemies to lovers interracial small town romance, which I am excited about. So come back and join us.
So thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. See you next month.
Stay cool out there.